G'day folks, Chris McLean here, Peak Performance and Transformation Coach, back again with another episode of the Peak Performance and Predictable Growth Show, the peak performance show for creative agency founders, owners and leaders, where we explore the agency journey from the unique perspective of those at the coalface of the industry. My guests help unlock and dissect strategies, tools and tactics from the trenches that are working right now to help you deliver better results for your clients and grow and scale your agency to 6-7 figures and beyond. And it's my pleasure today to welcome Jobe Neal on the show. And Jobe's from Bespoke Suited Marketing. They're an agency that helps coaches and trainers to promote their digital products and coaching to 6 figures. And as a coach, Jobe, that sounds pretty awesome to me. So welcome to the show. And tell us a bit about yourself and Bespoke and how you sort of help coaches and people in the e-com space get started, scale their businesses, and
Yeah, awesome. So we bring people in and we sort of help them with just getting started. So we make sure that the course and everything they've created is really marketable. That's probably the biggest thing from the start is everything in there really clear on how you're getting someone from point A to point B. Yep. Then we start to look at your offer and your price, and then we start looking at, right, what are the strategies to bring people in? And then for coaches and consultants, because it's typically the lead generation part before people get to their higher end offers, we help them with the sales process with that as well. So people aren't doing 20 phone calls just to close one person into their higher offers.
Right. So really taking them on that full journey from I have something that I think might resonate with a market. I've got some skills, I've got some abilities. I want to turn that into a digital product. What do I do? Where do I start? Is that where you generally sort of pick people up from at that point of I've got some IP, I've got something that I want to turn into a course, or do they need to be at the stage that they already kind of have a course and a program ready to go?
They already kind of have it. If they're still working on it, there's people that I refer them to work with them to sort of build it out with those people, and then they can come into me. But typically they have to have the digital product to get started.
Right. And what sort of platforms are you? Do you work in specific training platforms or Coursera or Learnify or Teachify, one of those platforms? Kajabi, are there specific platforms that you recommend people get started with?
I particularly like Kajabi. I think it's got a fair bit more to offer in terms of like if you want to structure your course a little bit differently in subscription model, or if you want to, there's also a really good affiliate center on the back end of that. And that's, okay. I think having something like that to start off with is pretty good. But there's also the options of putting it into just a ClickFunnels thing and having something really simple on your own website where you're maybe just in a little bit more control of some of the data that's coming in. Moves around a bit because I think there's also an element of what works best for the person. So what do people find easier? If someone's worked with ClickFunnels before, why take them off it? Why sort of take them too far away from it?
Yeah. As people come into it with, if you're a coach or a consultant or in the digital product space, you don't necessarily have super high-end tech skills. So I was just interested to see if you had a platform that you recommend or a place where people tend to sort of be running their programs these days, because there is quite a variety out there.
I think people typically go to like Udemy and some other things that like a search engine based to try and start selling. And I probably advise a bit more against that. Like if you want to sell something completely passive and then, brings in a couple of $100, I think that's all right. But I think like something that you want to really scale and build a business from, I think that those sort of things can be a little bit limiting. So that's probably the only advice I have with that. Pick ones that you can have more control over.
Yeah, right. And control your data and control your customer base a bit better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are the other considerations? So say I'm here, I've got a course, I may or may not have sold any units. I come to you and say, help me out. How I know that first stage gate tends to be 10K a month. How do you help people get to that 10K a month? Is it mindset? Is it getting the course right? Is it targeting it better? What are the sort of key strategic things that you make sure people have lined up in order to get selling?
Well, the first few weeks I would typically work with people is like, let's get the price, the offer, those two things sorted out really right, and then we can look at how we want to position it. And then, the dream client, dream person you want to be coming into that. I think if you're clear on those four things, then you can start to build out some logistical stuff of, all right, what's the platform that we go through? And then what's the traffic source we bring people in? Because if you know the type of person that you're trying to get, it's really easy then to sort of go, all right, these are podcast listeners. So let's try and partner with some podcasts, whether we run ads through them or whether we get onto podcasts, whether it's, B2B, let's get on LinkedIn. So I think there's, if you understand those things at the start, after that it becomes a little bit different depending on what you've got in your course. If you've got something that's personal training wise, then maybe Facebook and Instagram's to go, rather than someone that might be a little bit more corporate executive, then LinkedIn. So it's that's where it sort of starts to move a bit more around in terms of where we're going to start focusing our attention in terms of traffic source.
And I should right at that kind of back end of the process, that lead source, you're really getting defined on who you're actually serving, who's this for. Are you making sure that that's kind of baked into the process right from the start as well? Like if I just make a course that I want, that I think is awesome, doesn't mean that somebody else thinks it's awesome and wants to buy it. How do you make sure that people are in that you talked about sort of offer and price? What's the process at that part to make sure that what I've built is actually going to be sellable, that somebody else is going to be valuable to somebody?
I think the biggest thing with that is what's the result that the person gets at the end of the course you're building? What's that transformation that you're giving them? Because that's where you can decide the value. A lot of people are kind of scared to put their value the course that they make at the price that it's worth, just because it's like, oh, I've only just made this. I just want to do it at $50, $99 or something like that. It's like, this is a $500, $1,000 course. You've got to price it at that, and you've got to work at making it clear to people that that's the value, rather than getting in that rat race of reducing the price, which is typically where I see people that are having a problem getting started. That's where they're at.
Yeah. I would definitely agree that you see that a lot in. How do I shift more units? Well, I'll just make it $97 or $47 or $27. But as you're saying, the problem you get there is you've suddenly and immediately devalued your entire program. Just for me, when I see that, you see Black Friday sales and stuff, this is a $10,000 program, but you can get it today for $47. It's like, really? Is it actually $10,000? If it was worth,
not believable.
So how do you make sure that people are actually bringing that value? Obviously, it ties to, and I said, what's the end result? What does the person get from it? Are there any other considerations around building out a program in terms of the content, maybe the structure, the number of modules? Does any of that sort of play into it? Or is it really about, if I can shoot one video and it's an hour, I can sell that for $10,000 if it solves a $10,000 problem?
I think there's aspects, some of the parts I suggest for people to focus on are because it does change depending on the type of transformation you're doing and the type of thing you're teaching. But if you can breaking it down into the objectives that people need to get to form that transformation. So from getting from A to B, there's, there might be A1, A2, A3. So it's figuring out all those little steps. So I probably wouldn't ever tell someone to go, let's chuck that all into one and sell that as a course. Let's break down each thing as an objective so someone can watch part of the video, go away and implement it, come back, watch part of the, and if it's that way, there's a lot more, I think you have a bit more impact in that way. And if you have impact in your course, then that's what drives referrals. That's what drives testimonials. And they're the biggest things to get started. So I think just that sort of strategy behind it, thinking about, how do we make this in the easiest step-by-step way to get from A to B.
Yeah. I think, as you're saying, that target of like 10K a month in most circles seems to be that's the first level to get to. So if you can get all that stuff lined up, you get a high ticket program. What would you consider high ticket? Over $1,000, over $5, over $2? Sort of what classifies as a high ticket offer, do you think?
I'd probably go over like 1,500. I think you can sell up to that with some quick calls and the right offer and stuff like that. But anything typically over 500 to 1,500 is going to get a little bit trickier and a little bit more about how do we position it. And then everything after that is going to become, everything after 1,500, I reckon, starts to turn into a much bigger sales process than e-commerce. And that's where you start to look at more lead generation. So that's where digital training products sort of mix between e-commerce and lead generation in that way. And that's what I think is a little bit interesting with that, because some people are really versed in one side of that and they're not really versed on the other side. So adapting the business or scaling up price can pretty much change the whole model of that business.
Yeah, right. And is that in terms of a growth and a scale strategy? Is that something that you sort of recommend to maybe? Do you recommend people start high ticket or start with sort of a lower priced, like a $197, $297, $97 product where they've actually got to sell more units, or start with something high ticket where you make 1 or 2 sales a month and you're kind of hitting that 10K mark? Do you have a preference? Do you see either one working better or worse in the market for people?
I think anything between 297 to 497 is typically where I think, for a lot of coaches and consultants anyway, that's typically going to be a good sweet spot to start from, just to really get the ball rolling in the first 3 to 6 months. If you go much lower than that, like you said, it kind of devalues what you do and it starts to sort of decrease the interest, and you're trying to serve, if you have to sell more courses to make the same amount of revenue and to start scaling, it starts to really just get a bit muddled. Like, you're not really having impact on the people that are getting across, because there's a saying that energy goes where money flows. So you sort of, if you can get people to commit more to it, you're more likely to get people to go through your course and take it seriously. That's why courses that are free tend not to actually, I think I've downloaded heaps of different free things and just sort of never opened the email.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. So when you invest in something, you're literally invested in it, right? So you're more likely to, if I've just given you 10 grand, I'm probably going to open that email and I'm probably going to show up to the course, because now there's some stuff on the line. I'm sort of bought in to the process, of maybe I've sort of burnt that bridge. Whereas if I'm giving you $20 for a 12-week program and 1,000 videos, that value exchange feels kind of strange. And there is that commitment level. Do you find with your clients, is there kind of a breaking point with that? Like $5 grand's a good investment, 10 Is there a variation between the type of client you attract for a $97 client and a?
Yeah, you definitely attract better types of clients as you get higher. Like, it's an interesting dynamic where you might get someone in, if you get someone into a course that's $19.99 or whatever it is, they might be that person that's asking more of you and sort of putting more back on you. Like, you're not getting me these results. I've got this. They can tend to have a bit of a victim complex. Whereas people that are higher up in the scale, because they're more committed, and they I don't know what the mentality is fully behind it, but there does seem to be more of a show up and respect the time and energy of the coach. So I think that's something that's, if you can, it's worth considering going higher, because it's the same amount of effort to sell a $99 course as it is to sell a $999 course.
Yeah, I like that. I love that. I think that's very, very true. It's the same. You're going to spend the same money potentially if you're running ads. You're going to do the same amount of content posting if you're kind of doing organic strategies or authority type strategies. So the time investment, the resource investment's the same. You might as well make it $9.99 and sell a few less units, but also get a better grade of client. I think it is that weird thing, and particularly even with agency owners, right? When you're out and you're trying to get your first few clients, it feels weird to charge more money. There's that tendency to go, oh, I'll bring my prices down. I'll do some free work. I'll go cheap and I'll just get a few quick wins. But it can be quite a dangerous kind of slippery slope, because you, as we said earlier, you're devaluing yourself. You're devaluing your product. But I think that also has some mental confidence consequences, right? If you're going out to the market going, I am worth $49 versus I'm worth $4,900, I feel anyway that ties a bit into it. That's the sort of psychological thing that's happening there, that it ties into self-worth and confidence of literally, this is my value to the market. I think that's great what you're saying, that it's the same effort. You might as well charge more and kind of value yourself more in the market and attract better people that are then, you find also if you're attracting that better, greater client, they're more likely to buy your upgrade. They're more likely to buy your next course, your higher tier program.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The people that are coming in, and if they are more committed and they are getting those results, and you've got them from A to B, why wouldn't they think you can get them from B to C? And that's the thing as well about a lot of these courses and the way you're going about taking people through a funnel. If you've got, this is why we also sort of make sure people are clear on their strategy of, why have you got this product and what's the next thing after it? Because you want to know that this is, helping people get from here to here, then here to here, because you're developing a relationship with the person you're working with. So how are they getting closer to you? It's like this level of intimacy of, they start off, from your ad, they don't know you, like you, or trust you, then they come into your course, and really you getting that result is the trust and know factor, and hopefully the like factor, and that's when they're coming into that work with your relationship with that kind of energy, rather than coming straight into something like that without the just not really sure about you. They trust you at that point, so it's a good place to start from.
You've got that trust because you've helped them solve a problem. You've helped them by helping them. I think that's really important. The more you can help them as they go from A to B, B to C, C to D, if D is the really big challenge that they might be facing, you can kind of take them through that process. The closer that you get them to that process, and the closer they get to you, number one, the more money they're going to pay you. So there's more customer lifetime value in that process. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. You actually kind of got a very streamlined step-by-step system that you can take people through to get them from got something I don't really know what it is to now I've got a full ecosystem of product, a full ecosystem of programs. One thing I was interested to find out about in your experience. I know that when coaches and consultants, and we sort of talked about the technical expertise earlier, another thing that I sort of see is people go, I've got to do a course. Well, now I've got to be on video, and I hate being on video, or I suck at video, or I don't want to do audio, or I'm good at writing, but not presenting. Is there a particular format in terms of a video course or a training course or a PDF in terms of the presentation and the style that works better, or is it better just to lean into what you're better at, whether that's just presenting a slide deck and talking to it rather than being on camera? Might be interesting to talk about that a bit if you can.
Yeah, a lot of people do suggest sort of like go with what suits you. Like if you want to type and do that sort of stuff. I really think it's something that's a transformation you've got to make, particularly if you've got back-end offers where you're going to be working with that person. If you can be confident on camera and show yourself, that's how to start building that relationship. That's how you get that person to start seeing you, start feeling closer. And that's also going to work from the first point they see you in an advertisement or in your content, and then right into the course, and then wanting to work with you. It's from seeing you show up and seeing the way that you act on camera and the sort of feeling a bit of resonance with that type of person. So I can understand there's a reluctance to get on it. I definitely had a reluctance to get on camera for a lot of the stuff that I've been trying to make. But I think that it's something that's pretty essential to build out, particularly for courses that have back-end offers that they want people to be working with them for. So I don't think that you have to be on stage and doing a massive presentation in front of a bunch of people, but I think there's a few aspects to being confident on camera, and even if you just do it through Loom where they're still seeing you in aspects and you're using slides or you're typing on something, but try and get your face on camera. Try and allow people to see you and hear your voice, because I think that's pretty important.
Yeah, no, that does make a lot of sense for us. So there's certain things in life that if you want to do this is kind of what you got to do. So yeah, I appreciate the honesty there, because I think a lot of people that I want to do a course, but how can I not be on camera? Like if that's kind of just one of the caveats of if you want to be a coach and consultant, if you want to be in the e-com space, if you want to be presenting and getting people to know, like, and trust you, they want to see your face, they want to hear your voice, they want to understand your personality, and a lot of that just doesn't come across in books or written words. So yeah, people out there, if you want to do a course, you just got to get comfortable with video, unfortunately.
I think the biggest thing with that is just let it be crap for a little while. Just repeat, just do a bunch of videos, do as much as you can, and just accept that it's not going to be good for the first 10, 50, however many tries. But the thing is that you just build up that it becomes normal. I'm working with a mate of mine for an extension of our business. It's more lead generation, and he's never been on Zoom before. So he goes into the other room and we just practice his pitch on Zoom, just so that he can get comfortable with it. So it's just find a way to practice it and accept that it won't be good for a little while. I think that's the best advice that I would have.
Nice.
But there's plenty of there's video confidence coaches and video coaches out there as well that I would definitely suggest looking into.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think there's nobody loves the first video they shoot of themselves. It's always horrendous. I remember filming programs, and the first time I was just doing lives, right? Just jumping on and doing a Facebook Live. I think that I think the good thing about where we are at the moment with technology, there's so many opportunities to jump on camera and suck at it, because that's what everyone's doing. So jump on a TikTok, right? Jump on a 30-second video, jump on a Zoom call, do a Facebook Live, and just, as you said, be willing to suck, be willing to be terrible at it for a while. But it's like anything, you expose yourself to it and you kind of get better.
Yeah,
I think that's good advice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do find it fairly important. That's why if we do have people that come through that haven't made their course and aren't quite ready, we do have people that we work with that we'll send them to sort of work with them on that, particularly on confidence in camera and even just some little technical stuff of how to set up the room that you're in, the lighting, everything like that. So there's, I think guidance with that can be really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And on that note, if people do want to find out more about you, find out more about Bespoke and how you can help them, whether they're coaches, consultants, or looking to move in the e-com space or grow and scale in the e-com space, where's the best place for them to come and find you? And so what can they expect when they come and work with you?
Yeah, so we've got a Facebook group called the Six Figure Course Marketing Academy. That's pretty much across all of my social media. So if you go to Bespoke Suited Marketing Facebook page, you can get into that, or on any of my profiles, there's a link to that. There's also a link to book in a call as well, if that's something that you're interested in. And we just chat for an hour. I help you out, give you the framework, and then if you want my help, then that's how we go forward. But it's not a sales pitch, so it's just a bit of help from there.
Okay, we're just dropping that Calendly link down there. That's the one to jump on and book a call with Jobe if you're interested in working with them. Jobe, thanks for coming on the show this morning. We're still in the morning, and thankfully you're on a similar time zone as I am for once, which is nice to have someone in there where it's not 4 a.m. or something. But no, appreciate your time, and yeah, I think that was super useful. There's some really good takeaways for people that are looking to either start or grow in that e-com product space. Coaches and consultants, hit Jobe up, go check out the workshop, go check out his Facebook group, connect with him, and book in a call and see how he can help you grow and scale your coaching and e-com business. Jobe, again, thanks for coming on the show. I know it was kind of fast and furious, but I appreciate you taking the time.
No, it was great. Thanks very much for having me, Chris. It was a great show.
My pleasure. As always, we'll see you on the next one, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.